Hi, and welcome to Mimi's Pantry. Some of you are new, some of you've been around with me for a while, but I'm so happy to show you anything at any time. So today, what I'm going to do is show you how you take your ThriveLife products and make a meal. But not just any meal. This meal is going to be made in a jar. Now it can be any kind of jar or any size jar. Sometimes I use a pint. Sometimes I use a half pint if I'm going to cook it into a pot of boiling water. But generally a pint, unless you're making it for the family, and then you need the quart jar. And that's what we're doing today. So, hold on, I forgot one thing. Okay, anytime you're putting anything into a jar, you need your jar funnel. So, usually what you want to do is add your ingredients in the order of the recipe so you kind of have a pretty jar. Otherwise, you can do it in the reverse order and then all your seasonings filter down and it's not so pretty. So, what I'm going to do, and I don't know what that was. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with our ThriveLife chicken bouillon. And I just need 2 tablespoons. Now, normally what we do is we line up all our jars and we do like 2 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. And when we're done, we've got 12 jar meals. Now, what do you do with those jar meals? You are going to seal them, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, although I think I forgot my little handy dandy gadget, but I'll explain it to you. And then you put them on the shelf. If you can do 12 jar meals every month in a year, you have 144 meals. Now there's other ways that you can pack this up, like if you're doing like an individual. There are I'm so prepared. There are Mylar bags that you can get that are Ziploc. And so you just drop an oxygen absorber in there, throw it in a backpack, get to where you're going, put some boiling water in there, got it. Okay, we did the ThriveLife chicken bouillon. What I'm going to do is kind of set it up here so you can see as we go. Our next ingredient is going to be our Chef's Choice seasoning. Now, sadly, hi Janet, hi Meredith. Glad you could join us. Generally, well, on our seasonings, we lost a lot of our seasonings this year. I'm not quite sure why, but Chef's Choice stayed with us. My husband laughed at me, but he loves this stuff. I catch him in it all the time. So I'm going to want 2 tablespoons. And it doesn't exactly want to fit very well. All right. My spoon doesn't want to be in there. This is a good opportunity for me to show you what it's like. Our seasonings come in a can. And you pop the top off, and then you have this little seasoning thingy here. And now I see why it wasn't wanting to fit into my spoon. He's been into it a lot. Okay, there is our seasoning. And I'm going to put 1. Should have looked at this before I got in here. Yep, he's been busy. 2. We're going to have to get a new can open. So that's 2 tablespoons of Chef's Choice seasoning. Now, it also calls for 2 tablespoons of salad seasoning, which sadly I don't have. And I would just have to get some. And that's the beauty of this. If you don't have it and you have another brand, use it. Unfortunately, I don't have another brand. But we are going to make do. You can do this however your family likes the taste. Our next is going to be, a teaspoon of salt. Of course we need salt. And I've got a canister of sea salt here. I'll put that all in the bottom. And then a 1/4 cup of freeze-dried chopped onions. Now, if you've heard me talk about our onions, you know that I love them. And this is why. You don't see me doing any tears. And there's a 1/4 cup of our chopped onions. You should see the sliced onions. When you open the can, it about knocks you over. And we have green onions. Okay, now the onions are in. Let's see, and then we are going to do a 1/4 cup of ThriveLife dehydrated carrots. Now, most of our stuff, almost all of our stuff is freeze-dried. Carrots, for some reason, don't do well being dehydrated or freeze-dried. But see, they're pretty dehydrated. Put those in there. Now, one thing, depending on how you cook this, if you just pour boiling water in, you might want to let it sit just a little bit longer to give the carrots time to refresh. Then we're going to put in freeze-dried celery. This is another one of my favorites. How many of you buy celery, forget it's in there, and then you have this science experiment in the refrigerator? Not a pretty sight. Oh, we need a 1/2 cup of the freeze-dried celery. Does look a little strange, but it rehydrates beautifully. Okay, there's our 1/2 cup of celery. And as you can see, we're starting to layer our jar. And now, for the main ingredient, and this didn't call for pepper, is our freeze-dried chopped chicken. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Just a little piece of chicken. It's all chopped. And I have already measured this, and I know that I'm a little bit short, but there's powder in the bottom of this jar, and I'm going to add that to it because that is going to add so much extra flavor. Now, and that's the rest of my chopped chicken. I have to get one off the shelf. See, it's probably been over there for at least a year, and it'll be just as perfect as it was when it went in the jar. Now, 2 cups of noodles. And I hope this jar has enough. I do not store anything in the little plastic bags they come in because they just go bad. Everything will go bad in a plastic jar. It's kind of like if I buy a jar of honey at the store, those plastic jars, I put it in glass. It's going to save you a lot of grief. I did find out something's interesting. I've got, I don't know if you can see this here. It's a 25-pound bag of sugar. And I usually put it in half-gallon jars. And I dry seal it. And I found out that you really shouldn't put oxygen absorbers in your sugar because you might wind up with a sugar brick. But here's what's really disturbing right now. I went to our local farm store. Thought I'd get me like a $20 6-pack of these beautiful jars. $49. I don't know what is going on with the canning world, but that is ridiculous. And the only thing they had was some screw-on lids. They did not have any jars of any size. So I came home smug that I could just go on Amazon. $63. I'm going to have to empty out some of mine that are partially full and wash them and put other things in them. So that was a shocker. And of course I do not have the full 2 cups, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Let's just put the whole thing in. And what I'll do is after I'm done with the live, I'll go get some more egg noodles and put in there. But isn't that pretty? And what I'll do is I will just take a piece of paper and wrap around it with a piece of tape or rubber band to tell me what it is. And it says to make the jar, adding, well, okay, I did that part. To serve, I'm going to add 8 cups of boiling water to this in a large saucepan. And then, well, I'm going to boil 8 cups of water, add the ingredients, and let it simmer for 10 to 12 minutes. Now, since there's carrots in there, may go a little bit longer, but it also gives the noodles time to soften up. So, there you have your chicken noodle soup. Once this is sealed, and the way I do that, I know probably all of you are familiar with a sealing mill. It's got that little hose, and you've always probably wondered, what in the world is that? Well, I'll take my lid, set it on the jar, and I have some attachments to fit over the top. Now, I don't have the sealing mill, mine died, but I have a handheld version. Suck all the air out of there, it will seal. And to err on the side of caution, I will go ahead and put the lid on it, the ring. Now, we can eat this tonight, tomorrow, next week, next month, or it'll last about a year, sealed in a dark area. So, if you guys like this video, comment below and I will be glad to share other recipes with you. There's all kinds of cookbooks out there about meals in a jar. We have our own. Some of our uplines got together and started something called Pantry Pack, and they were sending us recipes every month. And it's not just jar meals. You can make up your own mixes for like brownies and whatever, but it's just amazing what you can do. So anyway, it kind of died off when COVID did, so I'm hoping they started back up again. But in the meantime, they do have a cookbook on Amazon. If you guys are interested, I'll message me and I'll send you the link to that. And I hope you enjoyed this. And looks like I've got a lot of sugar to can. And oh, my granddaughters, 2 of them are gluten-free, so I have to buy these special gluten-free noodles. These are going in the jar as well, once I find enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. You guys have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.